go forward with Carlos João on Program Manager on DG HERA. Please.
Thank you, Professor Yari, and for the association for the opportunity to be here and present a bit the Commission work on public health crisis preparedness and emergency response. The first slide to give you an overview of the service that was created within the Commission. So DG HERA created in September of 2021 with a clear mission to strengthen Europe's ability to prevent, detect, and tackle cross-border health emergencies from the angle of having the essential medical countermeasures needed to tackle those public health threats. So what are medical countermeasures? In an umbrella chapeau definition, we can say that the medical countermeasures are all the tools that we need to fight a given health threat. And these can be different types of categories, which include medical devices, of course, but we can also include in there medicines, personal protective equipment, raw materials, you name it. So everything that we can have at our disposal to fight a given health threat. Next slide, please. So we tackle this problematic of health threat, having the full medical countermeasures life cycle into account. This means that we go from intelligence gathering and analysis both on public health threats and associated medical countermeasures, and we identify opportunities to promote research and clinical trials, and even in a given specific area, medical countermeasures development, medical countermeasures production, procurement, or distribution and stockpiling. So we have an holistic approach towards the MCMs that are necessary for a given health threat. And here in this slide, in the previous slide, sorry, still on the MCM life cycle, you see some examples of actions that we've been launching since our creation that tackle all these areas of the MCM life cycle. I just highlighted in bold some of the ones that are related to the medical device or the Medtech industry, and these have been mainly in the IVD sector that we have been hardly investing. Next slide, please. So how do we operate as HERA? We have basically two modes: preparedness phase and the emergency phase. So during preparedness, that we hope that is 99.9% of our job, we work together with the member states, together with the industry, to analyze, identify possible threats, to capture signals around the world, and then identify what are the associated medical countermeasures, are either horizontal or threat specific. Of course, this is very important to identify also the gaps where no medical countermeasure is available, or where there are substantial vulnerabilities that need to be tackled in order for us to be really prepared once a health threat materializes. And then we have the emergency phase. And the emergency phase is what we hope 0.1% of our role. That is where we are given more responsibility. I would not say power, I would say more responsibility to implement targeted measures that would help us not only monitor, but get to the next level. So procure, purchase, and deploy specific medical countermeasures in specific geographical locations. So this emergency phase is activated upon the declaration of a public health threat at the European level, and this is activated within the new so-called emergency framework regulation that I will talk in a few slides. So in peace mode, let's say in preparedness phase, one of the most important activities that we do is the intelligence gathering. So getting information on public health threats and on the medical countermeasures. And we do this not only recurring to public available sources of information and partner with the important institutions like the WHO, like the CDC, like EMA, so having an holistic overview of what are the signals all around the world. But we also do this with the industry and with the private sector, taking into account the available data source providers that can help us to build a picture of what is the situation regarding the medical countermeasures. So we get all these processes culminate in one thing that we call the medical countermeasures catalog, which contains horizontal and threat-specific tools or countermeasures divided by different categories. And you can see in the slide some of those categories, including the medical devices and in vitro medical devices. Next slide, please. But once a public health threat is declared, the Council can adopt, and through this new regulation 2022-2372, there is now a framework of measures that can be adopted during a health crisis. And the Council has the power to adopt one or couple more of these measures that will give the responsibility to HERA and all other EU bodies to implement more specific actions. And those actions, and you can see they are described as in the form of articles in that regulation, and can include the monitoring of crisis-relevant medical countermeasures, procuring, purchase, and manufacturing them, activate research and innovation plans, and activate the clinical trials networks that we have all over Europe, to produce an inventory of our production and manufacturing capacities, and an inventory of raw materials, consumables, medical device equipment, and infrastructure. So we have to, in order to decide where to purchase or to stockpile or to distribute, we have to know our baseline to start with. So this is a very important one, because then it can trigger measures to ensure availability and supply of those MCMs. And one of the most important is also the emergency funding. So the ability to quickly tap in other programs within the Union and mobilize the funds quite quickly to support specific actions in the field. So this is one of the most important also articles in this regulation. So in this slide is the same process of intelligence gathering, but now in an emergency setting. So once a public health threat is declared, HERA will use our medical countermeasures catalog, plus the new public health emergency critical devices list that is produced by EMA or coordinated by EMA, with taking into account the extended mandate of HERA now under the new regulations, plus any other information system, including our own information system, advanced technology, health intelligence and analysis system that we are developing at HERA, to go and produce an in-depth analysis of the medical countermeasures. So this is what we call the MCM's in-depth analysis on crisis-specific MCM lists. And what does it mean, for instance, in terms of devices? Next slide, please. This means that within a given threat, we will look to specific countermeasures and we'll assess the components, the raw materials, the variants if there are alternatives, if they are custom made or in-house, if there are something else that is not marketed yet but is in the innovation pipeline, understand the technical and the clinical development associated with those medical countermeasures. And of course, one important aspect that we talked already this morning, the regulatory pathways associated with those MCMs. Understanding their dependencies to other industries or interdependency within the industries, the manufacturing capacities, and of course, one of the most important aspects, the supply chain mapping of those medical countermeasures. So we will assess these. We will assess these? In the case of medical devices, we have been working together with the industry in the what we call HERA GICF forum, so the Joint Industrial Cooperation Forum that HERA has as a board, consultative board, where industry associations, including within the Medtech sector, are represented. And we get this opportunity to get feedback on how can we interact with industry to get access to all this information, what is the most suitable tool to get access to this information in order to be that we are able to capture the essential information that we have for our policy-driven actions, but also in a way that is comfortable for the industry to share and in a meaningful way. So why do we need access to this information? Why do we want to access this? It's just for those reasons that you have on the right part of the slide. So the aim is to fine-tune demand and deployment, to address supply chain vulnerabilities that we can together identify, to increase stockpiling or purchase if it is needed, or to strengthen R&D activities if, for instance, there is a gap and no medical countermeasure is available there. So scale up manufacturing, promote flexibility, and one of the most important is also to build capacity within our workforce, to train them to use the new medical countermeasures that are needed in a given threat. I'm just finishing, so I will try to be fast. So just an overview of HERA's budget. So we have now been access to a 6 billion budget with 3 different programs. So the EU4 Health, Horizon Europe, and the Union Civil Protection Mechanism and Rescue. And next slide, please. And we'll be using this budget to support bringing innovative medical countermeasures to the market, both early stage and both more advanced or late stage. So you have a few examples here in the slides of actions that we have been supporting so far in the area of therapeutics, vaccines, AMR. I will just highlight the one in dark blue regarding the in vitro diagnostic device. It was the first meaningful action that we put in place with a 40 million call for proposals, where we got 6 proposals that are running, are more or less now in midterm, and the first, or let's say the results will be achieved by 2007. So 6 funded projects that target respiratory diseases, AMR, zoonotic viruses, and the majority on point of care diagnostic solutions. The next slide, please. So in this slide, it's another example of not only early stage, but late stage. So what in HERA we are trying to do is to close the gap, the value of death, and support not only research institutions, but SMEs and large companies, but bring really end-to-end, offer end-to-end solutions, so bringing to the early stage to the certification and availability to the market. And these are some of the actions that we have been doing. More relevant, for instance, one flagship initiatives that we have, like the speed up of medical countermeasures development, the recurrent action that we have within the EU4 Health program, and that I invite you to pay attention every year to those programs, because we will try to every year launch a support to a new medical countermeasure within that program. And to finalize, I just want to bring to your attention one specific call that was just published yesterday. That is an example of the previous action that I was talking about, speed up of medical countermeasures development. And this refers to the development of a rapid point of care AMR diagnostic medical devices, which aims to provide results within an hour or less, so to be used in a hospital setting, so point of care. And we know that it's essential to have faster results, so the doctors can diagnose and prescribe, especially in the same day or in the same session, already to the patient. So it's a very ambitious action that is now open with a budget of 12.8 million and a maximum timeline for development. So for bringing more or less from TRL 3 to TRL 8, so close to the market, 48 months time spent to do it. And that's my presentation. Thank you.